Hey everyone, this is Heidi from the blog Hands Occupied with a tutorial on how to make perfect, bulky pom-poms. Making a pom-pom can be really easy, just a matter of wrapping a pom-pom maker or a piece of cardboard, cutting out your pom-pom, and you're good to go. But one thing I have found when you make giant pom-poms or work with really bulky yarn is your pom-poms require a little bit of extra care. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make the most of your bulky pom-pom. In this pom-pom maker here, I've wrapped one color of this orange yarn around half of the pom-pom maker. Now I'm going to wrap this teal color around the other half, resulting in a two-color pom-pom. So all you've got to do when you've got bulky yarn is make sure to start wrapping your yarn, and I'd leave a little tail because you're going to trim it in a minute anyway. Wrap it as close to the edge of the pom-pom maker as you can. And just go nuts with wrapping it. Just make sure to keep your finger on that initial piece of yarn so that it doesn't slip out of the pom-pom maker. And one thing that I also like to do when I'm making a bulky pom-pom is pull on my yarn, have a little bit of tension in my yarn as I wrap the pom-pom maker so that when those fibers relax, when we cut this into a pom-pom, the density is really thick in the pom-pom. And that'll, for demonstration's sake, that'll probably about do it. We'll close it and trim our tail. Then, like always, when making pom-poms, you're going to need to cut yourself another scrap of yarn just to have at the ready. And then we're going to cut in the little divot in our pom-pom maker. Luckily, these scissors are nice and sharp, so this cutting is super easy. Sometimes with bulky yarn, you're going to want to make sure not to use a small scissor, like a travel scissor or the kind of scissor that comes from an embroidery place, because your yarn is so thick, you're going to want a nice thick scissor to have success with your bulky pom-pom. So like so, we just keep cutting until all those fibers are cut into little bits. Then we take our tail, place it in the opening at the center of the pom-pom maker, and tie a nice tight knot. So bam, we've got our tight knot. And then one thing I like to do also is I get my first knot in there to secure the center, then I flip to the other side, tighten again, and then put a more serious knot on that side of the pom-pom. With this yarn in particular, which is 100% polyester, it's easier for some of the fibers to slip out, so you're going to want to make sure that that knot securing all these little tails of yarn is nice and tight. Then we open the pom-pom maker, exploding little Muppet-like fuzzes all over our table. We open that up, pull the pom-pom maker apart, and we've got our two-color pom-pom right here. Now I brought this example pom-pom that I did to get ready for this video. And the thing you'll notice about this pom-pom versus this one is that it's a little bit more of an oval shape. I used the same exact size pom-pom maker, and I used the same exact yarn and the same two-color pom-pom technique, but they look really different. So the difference is here, and these are key points to success for your bulky pom-pom. The difference here is that I wrapped this one nice and tight around the pom-pom maker. This one I wrapped a little bit more loosely, and I also wrapped a lot more yarn around it. This one, in the end, is going to be a more aesthetically pleasing pom-pom than this one, because with all that extra yarn, the density is really the key here. But when you've got this oval shape that can happen with your extra thick and lush pom-poms, you're going to need to be real careful about how you give your pom-pom a haircut. So what we're going to do here, we can see that on the sides we've got a little bit extra fiber, more so than on the middle section. And one thing you can do to help even out your fibers is roll your pom-pom around on your work surface to get those fibers all relaxed, and then give it a haircut at this point. Looking at the sides, we see that extra yarn there. And on this side, we see it as well. So just don't be afraid to get in there and really even out your pom-pom, eyeballing it to get the best sphere you possibly can get. So as you can see, comparing my pom-pom that I've given a bit of a haircut to this one, you can see just how much more spherical and classically pom-pom looking the finished product appears to be when you see it side by side. So if you've got any other hot tips for pom-pom making to get it just right, let us know in the comments. And if you have any questions, that's a great place to ask those too. Don't forget to tune in again soon for more yarn video tutorials.